Our panelist tonight, who is Alex Mwathe, is a political and governance analyst who is joining us live in the studio to just discuss on the latest developments in the country and in the political arena. Welcome to our studios tonight, Mr. Alex.
Thank you, thank you. Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
And an honor to actually be part of your panelists.
Thank you. Let's begin with the latest developments in the country. Today, Azimio la Umoja unveiled their running mate. What do you make of this choice?
It was coming. It was coming based on the various conversations that have gone around. That a lot of people knew that even the interviews were just to ensure that there is something that is created to show that there is equity and there is a process of selection. Remember, the Constitution requires the presidential candidate to nominate his running mate. But it was made to look like it's a long process. One of the things that surprises me is that we seem to have very short memories as a country and as leaders, because I've heard many times, both in social media as well as in even some of one of the segments in news, that is a very great honor because the first woman to be nominated to be a running mate. And I wonder whether Winnie, who was nominated by Professor Kiapi in the last election, whether she was a man. The fact is that Charity Ngilu vied for presidency in 1997, and she came out very strongly. So that women leaders in this country have reached that level. If elected, then yes, she'll be the first one. But in terms of being nominated, going through that process, she ain't the first one. Okay. There have been others, including Professor Wajakoya.
Yeah.
Last week, but one nominated a lady to be his running mate.
That's right.
Yeah.
So how strategic was this move for the Azimio la Umoja? Though you're saying that we saw it coming, or people saw it coming. So how strategic was this move to name Martha Karua as running mate and not any other person and not Kalonzo Musyoka?
Martha Karua profile has always been created around the Iron Lady, created around a principled woman, a principled leader. And to an extent that it has also been created around the fact that she seems to have a strong drive towards fighting corruption, as it were. And so hence, there was that to ensure that within one of the coalition, there's somebody who looks like they will be able to fight corruption, even though it's yet to be, the tree that says a mango tree. You only know when you have mangoes on it.
Yes.
So because of that, people saw that. Of course, the Azimio la Umoja, obviously, it looked like they wanted to ensure that there's gender sensitivity in terms of the people that are selected. And that's why they had about 3 or 4 ladies within their ranks. You had Charity Ngilu, we had Sabina Chege, and then we had Martha Karua. So it meant that there was an intentional drive towards getting a lady as a deputy president.
So looking at Kalonzo Musyoka, he's been the vice president of the late President Kibaki. So was it just about becoming gender sensitive?
Just remember, politics in Kenya is about, and not only in Kenya, politics everywhere is about self-interest. And everyone looks at people that they can work with, and sometimes people that can answer to what gives you votes or what works. You remember a couple of months ago, Kalonzo made a really interesting remark about the fact that he will never deputize Raila Odinga.
Yes. And
he used very strong terms towards that. So it's almost obvious that even Raila his ego would not allow him to do that again after having made such remarks in public, and videos are around as to what he said about vying again. So while he looked like a strong candidate, because the deputy president, one of the purposes of it, you must have somebody who is a mobilizer. You must have somebody who will bring in votes, because the whole game is about getting votes. And if you compare Martha Karua and Kalonzo Musyoka, of course, was bringing more on the table than Martha Karua would. And for that reason, it looked like it was a possibility. But I think because of that remark, Raila must have felt, no, I don't want this guy. on someone else.
Okay. Yeah. So the Kenya Kwanza Alliance named their running mate yesterday, Rigathi Gachagua, will deputize William Ruto. How does Azimio's choice affect the UDA?
Is Kenya Kwanza. Is the running mate for the Kenya Kwanza coalition. The fact is, for the first time in this country, there is no presidential candidate from the Mount Kenya region. It's a known fact that the population of the Mount Kenya region is the largest when you divide this country in the way we were encouraged by the colonials to divide ourselves in terms of ethnicity. That Mount Kenya region brings in almost 30 to 40% of the total votes that are in this country. So which means that this is a basket that is very important to either of the leading presidential candidate. Let's face it, there are only two horses. There's Raila Odinga and William Ruto. And for them, they wanted to consolidate and have a say into this basket that is Mount Kenya votes. And that's why the Kenya Kwanza coalition went first to somebody who would come. And you remember the two final candidates were in the social media, in what we've had. We're not very private to the private conversations, but there's a lot of information coming out that was either Kindiki from Meru or Gachagua from Nyeri, which means these were both from the Mount Kenya region. And the choice was, of course, Gachagua, who has been much more vocal and much more closer to the deputy president in terms of going out and campaigning. The selection of today of Martha Karua is supposed to create a situation where she looks like she will bring the Mount Kenya votes also on the table over and above the women votes in the country. As to whether that is real or not, that's a different story, because she vied in 2013 and she didn't perform very well. While others say now that she's a deputy president, then of course a lot of women vote for her. But I do not know anywhere where women vote just because you're a woman. They also vote for different reasons. In this country, people vote because you're from a certain region, and we want a certain movement, and we want a certain leader at the top, so we vote for him.
How much of the Mount Kenya vote does Martha Karua control, as opposed to Kithure Kindiki or even Gachagua? How much does she control?
Truth be told, very minimal. 2-3 weeks ago, I think it's last week, she went to her home turf in Gishugu and went to the Azimio presidential candidate, Raila Odinga, and they were shouted down. One may give a long story that people are paid and all that, but these are villages, these are township in the village, and I do not know who is this, who is so powerful like the Holy Spirit to go and give money so that they can shout somebody down. They were telling her, look, we like you, we may want you, but we've already made our decision. So my opinion is that even within her own Gishugu constituents, forget about the greater Kirinyaga area where she was beaten earlier in the governorship gubernatorial election. I remember she went to the court, she went to the Court of Appeal, she went to Supreme Court, and she even went to the East African Court. She was beaten. So really, based on that and based on that 2-3 weeks ago, if you can't be appreciated at home, you can't be appreciated in the neighboring villages. The contra is Gachagua still has a lot of hold in his constituency in Nyeri, where he's a member of parliament, and the greater Nyeri area. And we have seen the reception of him plus the deputy president being much more than Martha.
Therefore, how do you make of this statement? We've seen Raila, of course, camping at the Mount Kenya region, also Ruto doing the same, even over the last few weeks. And I remember even during the time of the burial, after Kibaki was buried, Raila still had to woo voters from the Mount Kenya region. Now, with the selection of this particular candidate as the running mate, could we say that he has finally clinched or gotten what he wanted from the mountain?
We'll have to wait and see. Like I've just said that as of now, she doesn't have much pull in terms of the Central Kenya voters. That if you can't pull people within your own constituency, within your own county, then you can't pull people in the other 10 counties that constitute the Mount Kenya region. But remember now is a different ball game, because then she went in as a suggested candidate. Now she is the nominated candidate for the vice presidency, for the deputy president. That could change the ball game. But remember, you've got to create your voter base before that happens, because then people follow you because they already know you and you're already there. Take, for example, Kalonzo Musyoka. Why is he so strongly in terms of demanding a position? Because in the last couple of elections, 2007, 2013, 2017, he actually was able to pull the lower eastern votes, the Kamba votes, into I think there was NASA first, there was COD initially, then there was NASA secondly, and he was able to pull in all the votes from that region. And that's what he's holding on, that still people in Lower Eastern will still follow him wherever he goes. So that even as he vies for presidency, he believes that those votes will go to him.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, talking about, we've had this discussion for a long time now, that both Raila and Ruto were under pressure to select a woman deputy president. Do you think Ruto right now, after Raila's announcement, is under pressure? And is there any point that the DP could rethink his decision probably?
Just remember, the reason why there's been a push for selection of a woman is more to do with what the law requires. And that fulfillment of the law does not require a deputy to be a woman.
That's right.
That requirement requires that at least 30% of the people that are representative in your party should be of the opposite gender. Today we are talking about women being the 30%. I see a situation 20 years from now, it will be the other way around. People will be looking for men to be in leadership position if we go in the direction that the world is going.
Yes.
And so he's already made a statement that his government will constitute 30% women, which means a statement of purpose to be able to do that going forward. That is enough for him to be able to outweigh this whole idea that a deputy is a woman. Because you see, even the cabinet that was proposed by Azimio, except Martha Karua, the rest are men. So really, there's no change. So as they move forward towards the campaign period, if that becomes an issue, I don't think it will be an issue in this country. But if it becomes an issue, then you can always explain that in the government that I'm going to form, then I'm going to give women more positions.